What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Chip Off the Old Block. I'm your host, CJ Matthews, here with the notorious
Dr. CJ Matthews. This is my I'm in shock face.
and there's so much going on in the world, even before we get into New Year, even before we get into a lot of stuff that's going on. I just got something came to mind. I'll let you hear what I mean.
And song, and even Dr. Andrew Young, and bringing him back when he brought him back after his declaration never to come again to participate in those races, times and seasons, and then now for the whole world to have a spotlight on Georgia is one thing, but for the folk to come through, cha-ching!
Yeah, I should have added that too. But with everything that's going on, the highlight of this week for me has been what has happened down in Georgia. And it's significant for so many reasons.
Absolutely.
And, since the inception of this podcast, we've been doing so much talking about voting, so much talk about mobilization and doing work within the community. And so often people are deterred from being engaged in the process because they don't see any current day examples of victory.
Absolutely.
And here is the perfect example of what we have the power to do. Now, let's be clear, and I'm sure you're going to speak to this and you'll get into it deeper. This was not something that happened overnight.
Not at all.
But this was years and years of consistent work, and that's why I just salute Stacey Abrams, and I don't know all of the names, but everybody else who has been involved, for years and years to come to this point. And let's be clear, although, this is a monumental victory, I would say, it's really just the beginning of a larger movement, I believe and I hope.
Oh, absolutely. And let me say to all of those who whether you prayed, whether you sent money, those down on the ground, those foot troops down throughout Georgia and the surrounding states who labored and worked, never get weak at the fact that they call Stacey Abrams' name or some of the names they call, because everyone knows, and I'm sure that in the genius of Sister Abrams, she would tell you that no, this wasn't about an individual.
Yeah,
all right.
100%.
And we call names like Frederick Douglass, but what about the thousands?
Right. Yeah, 100%.
Martin King, Fannie Lou Hamer. Now, we call names, Mother Rosa Parks. We call names, but they knew.
Yeah, 100%.
They would acknowledge. They would say of the thousands that they stood with and who worked as hard. But those people who come to the forefront for purposes and seasons such as this are valuable also.
Right.
And so it's just incredible. And as I thought about it, and you know how we all like to jump on board, so I'm going to jump on board because the maternal side of our family is rooted in Georgia.
Yeah, 100%. What? Palmetto, Georgia?
Palmetto. And I actually went down there. It was amazing. I've been to Atlanta, and especially being a part of SCLC and everything. But first time I ever went down there was like amazing. I took my grandmother down there, your great grandmother and your grandmother and your aunts down there to a funeral. And it was like, I couldn't believe I was there because I was an adult,
Mm-hmm.
I was already in ministry, and I couldn't believe I was there. I just couldn't believe it because I've been hearing about it all my life.
Right.
So it was just, but I don't want to take the focus off of what happened this week.
Yeah.
The many years of labor, work, prayers, believing, and the fact that Dr. Warnock, man, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
They talked about the black church as if we're some enigma.
I mean, this has been the one institution historically.
And if we could connect with the current generation, I'm not talking about join our churches, I'm talking about just connect.
No, 100%. Just the work, just the cooperation, the opportunity that exists with the cooperation.
Absolutely.
And because, I mean, just like we said, this was a community, this was a group effort, and we can only make progress as a group, as being connected.
And those of us who understand history know that Obama's presidency did not happen by Jesse Jackson, Reverend Dr. Jesse Jackson, but it happened because of.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, and the labor and the work and the relationships that he built, and the fact that he and Shirley Chisholm would run for president of the United States of America.
Right.
Which now has given rise to the fact of now vice president.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say vice president elect no more. All right, I'm not saying it because if they can act, never mind. Don't let me see.
Hold on. We'll get to them.
All right, okay.
No, but to your point though about the church, and you know this. I only know this because I've been going places because of you. But there are other groups where there's partnership between the business community and the faith community.
Right.
And not to say that there isn't any of that, but if we can really hone in on the power of that,
absolutely.
And man, it's just the possibilities are just.
One organization that was built by the African American church historically, and as they began to move and become liberated and moved into corporate world, we became less on their agenda. So somehow we have to be able to maintain those connections in a way that that everybody benefits, and it's an exciting time. Matter of fact, when I stayed up all night watching the election results, I had to stay up 2 nights. It was just crazy. Yeah. My whole body, I don't have much of a biological clock at my age, but the little clock I do have got all messed up.
Yeah, I've been off. So,
and so I'm up all night watching this stuff. And it's like, what? Warnock done won already. Dr. Warnock go. I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm retired anyway. I'm moving to Atlanta. Shoot, I'm going down there and have some fun. I can just ask me if I could be a deacon or something.
Oh man, I've been wanting to do something down there anyway. When we bring the brunch back, we gonna do one down there. So
I know that's right. Yeah, yeah. And the fact that I have had such a powerful experience historically. Again, when I was president of SCLC, Dr. Macon and I would get up, be on the road at 2 a.m, heading to Atlanta for a meeting.
Yeah, 100%.
Late Dr. Reverend Joseph Lowry, we wasn't famous or nothing, but we were just a part of his crew. He could call and say, hey, I'm going here or I'm going there, and, you got to have some preachers come. So we were a couple of those young guys that he, through Dr. Tony Miner, that he let us come, and it was just exciting. And so to see and I'll make a little quote here before we move on, the South rise again.
No, man.
Everybody won't know the historical context of that saying until we get to Wednesday.
No, it's really powerful though. Just I don't know. It's just the culmination of so much.
Absolutely,
so much coming together. But man, just my hats off to those people. We're inspired by that, and it's motivation to us.
Well, if you
across
look
the
at
country.
The get out the vote efforts in the pandemic this year.
Yeah.
Look at the Black Lives Matter movement this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at the culmination of all that praying and frustration to literally transfer power.
Yeah, transfer.
In a powerful way. I mean, the transfer, overnight, because look, and the contest in South Carolina just seemed like based on money and everything Lindsey Graham should have lost. Mitch McConnell was challenged. Mm-hmm. All these different things going on, and then they won everything.
Yeah.
And all the rhetoric was, where's the blue wave? Where's the blue wave? Bye to bye. And, and I'm like, they didn't see this one coming. This snuck up on you like, some of those hot peppers is, oh, this ain't hot. Oh, no.
Yeah, they probably had smoke coming out their ears, too.
No. Well, I mean, and again, we'll get to Wednesday, but it was interesting. Again, it shows the power of labor, work, cooperation, those serious values that make a significant difference. And it's a blueprint.
Yeah.
Every community's not the same. Every state's not the same.
No, 100%.
But it still was a blueprint on working together and having some specific goals. And there's a way that we can turn our community around. With a 10 to 15-year vision plan for empowerment for voting, empowerment for economics, empowerment to deal with education. We can't leave it to the people who it's been left to.
Yeah.
All right, or else we'll be expecting something different when they've already proven they can't deliver.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just think about Cleveland. Every year that they've been asked to, the poorest people in this region have said yes to an income tax increase.
Mm.
I'm not calling us poor. It's just a date, and we make the least money.
Right.
While other wealthier regions have said no.
Yeah.
So our residents have said, we love our children.
Yeah.
We want them to be educated. But who's failing them? People and processes, unfortunately, that we can't lend any more credibility to. And we got to have some revolution when it comes to educating our children.
Yeah, 100%. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's all of this stuff, right, that becomes the focus as opposed to the objective. And I just have to believe that that's what it comes down to.
Right.
I mean, or just blatant.
Well, I'm not supporting anybody anymore. I don't care about color that don't get it done for our children.
Yeah, period.
We can't be satisfied until it's excellent 100%, and every child is being positioned for success.
Yeah, and that's
there's a way to get it done.
That's the job. No, that's the perfect word. Positioning,
right?
Setting up.
Absolutely.
That's the job of the entity, the organization, is to position, is to set up for opportunity.
I don't want to hear no excuses.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Don't take the job. Get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Resign.
Yeah.
Leave. Go someplace. Go someplace where they accept excuses.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah. So anyway, it was.
Yeah, but we had to get in there before we got into anything else. With so much going on, I didn't want us to that. The celebration was
because it got squashed in all the foolishness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So get back to business as usual. Not as usual, but this is our first episode of the new year, so happy new year to everybody that's tuning in. We're praying that you have a blessed year, a blessed day. Man, I don't know about anybody else, but if I was reminded, the end of the year always brings about a time of reflection, and as I was reflecting on 2020 and I was looking forward to 2021, which we are in now, I had so much to be thankful for. Come a long way. I've been blessed with a lot of things. Some things I fell short on, but really when I think about it, it's right now what I'm on, and I don't have any resolution or anything, but what I'm on right now is just maximizing. It's just about maximizing what it is that I have, and it's really like just approaching each day with a goal. Waking up with a vision of victory and going after it. So I do have year goals for the year, but what I'm feeling right now is more so every day, today, and just each day compiling, and ultimately that's what will lead up to the bigger win. So that's what I'm on.
Absolutely. I mean, and again, every year I have so much to be thankful for. I mean, it always begins with a solid relationship with God, a tremendous family, children, grandchildren, just an unbelievable congregation, friends, just the best of what God has to offer in the midst of the challenges that come, a faith and a resolve that has allowed me to be determined to go forward.
Yeah.
And to not get stuck anywhere at any point, because it's real easy to get stuck because some stuff happens. And some people have had some crap dumped on them.
For sure.
You know.
For sure.
Some people, unfortunately, have not learned how to make the best choices or the wisest choices. And often some of them don't have the support system until they can get it together, which, again, is another role for the church. But 2020 just turned as horrifying as it was in March. And I mean, I don't know about nobody else, but horrifying. And then as God's grace allowed us to go week after week, well, day after day, week after week, month after month, and we discovered that the same God pre-pandemic was the same God in the midst of the pandemic.
Yeah, 100%.
And now through technology and medicine, good government in some cases, horrible government in others, the philosophical battles in our country and the philosophical divides, all of the best of who we are was squashed by the worst of who we are.
Yeah.
You know, and so you can't see the development of the vaccine as a positive because the rollout strategy is bad or insufficient, or, you know, so, but overall,
yeah,
and I'm blessed
Election
in 2020. Year. And just like whenever I leave a year, I leave it moving into a better place, a better direction, and a more powerful opportunity. Doesn't matter what happened in that year.
Yeah.
At all, because I know the potential in me has increased because of the pandemic.
Yeah. And, you know, not for nothing, you know, we I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and it's like, man, you know, I agree 100% with what you're saying. At the same time, you know, we're literally, and you've experienced more than me, but in recent history, we are experiencing and witnessing some historical events. Like, we're in the, like, you know, like every year that you live is history, right? But some things make a bigger blip on the big picture, and we've been on a pretty big blip as of late. And, you know, I don't want to preach or nothing, but it's just a blessing to be here, you know? Like,
the preacher can't help but preach. And the Lord said,
no, but just something that I was meditating on towards the end of the year, and even the beginning of the year, still to this point, in the midst of this historic year, in the midst of a literal pandemic, you know, where so many people have died, where so many people have contracted the virus, where so many businesses have gone out of business, where so many, you know, entities and organizations have no longer exist, to still be here, to be sustained, that's miraculous. Like, sometimes it's easy to overlook the miracle of being sustained.
Absolutely.
The blessing of still being here through some tumultuous times.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's the power of Scripture for me.
Yeah.
Okay. And why I thank God that I have a faith life and have had the privilege to study God's Word for 4 decades, because the moment you said that, it immediately took me to those young men in the fiery furnace, because when everything around you is on fire and the potential to burn and perish is obvious, then to basically deny that by faith and to look to the God who just happened to jump in with you.
No, and you know, the crazy thing about that is, because I've been reading that obviously lately, but, you know, they turned the fire up so hot that as the guys was trying to throw them in, they died on fire, not in the furnace, but on the outside. So the heat was so hot that they got burnt up from the outside. So to go in that too,
Georgia.
Georgia.
So in other words, the folk that was throwing them in, we should not say. Where are the people supposed to give me some cue cards or something?
No, man, we free. We free.
All right, this is sponsored by Kingdom Wear or Kingdom.
Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, right. I like that. Pretty good. Good. Yeah, I had to keep reminding myself of that.
No, but I mean, I don't know. So it's a blessing to still be here, you know. And, you know, every day we waking up with another opportunity to win. Every day we wake up with another opportunity to progress, though.
Right.
And that's really the key, that just continue to move forward, continue to step forward. You're going to have setbacks, but keep going and keep fighting and keep pushing. And, you know, eventually, you know, faint not.
Absolutely.
So.
And I think that's invaluable, you know, and I watched my grandparents, you know, persevere.
Yeah.
And provide a life for my mom and her siblings, their children. You know, I watched my parents persevere and provide a life for me and my siblings.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen my wife, your mom, and I persevere and try to provide a life for you, your siblings, and now your children. So God puts enough grace on any of our lives to be successful.
Yeah.
The challenge becomes the wisdom to make decisions towards success. And then the challenges that comes with that.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be, because you make a right decision don't mean not going to be no crap.
No, 100%.
But then to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And not count those failures or challenges as fatal to the point that, okay, I'm here now, so then I might as well just keep going in this direction.
Yeah, or it's over with. There's
Right.
no opportunity to come back or move forward.
And see, the good thing about God is, you know, the Second Chance Act and all those things, which I was a part of, the early ones in the 2000s. They've got new ones now. But is that God is not into chance and second chance.
Right.
He just loves us.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way to get out of the scope of his love except to die without Christ and go to hell.
Yeah.
You know, and then unfortunately, that choice was fatal and eternally fatal. You know, and there people wouldn't agree with me, but so as long as you have breath, you have hope. It's difficult in this country because we don't practice the true values of a Christian nation. Biggest joke I ever hear when I hear people say that. Founded on Christian principles. I'm like, man, it's just hard for me to reconcile those things.
They need just a subset. You know, like you break stuff down like, I'm not this, but I'm this. And it's like, because this is a whole nother thing.
Well, if we just acknowledge the fact that broken people do broken things and a loving God is always there for everybody, including broken people.
No, 100%. It's, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to whitewash this thing.
Yeah. So.
Oh, man, I said whitewash. What does that mean? Okay, we don't have to whitewash.
So obviously it's been an eventful week.
This is my shock face.
I was looking for a wrestling call. This the guys who was the announcers when I was a kid, the King and Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross. Ricky actually knew one of them, but they used
That's
to have
Ricky Feature, y'all. Ricky Feature.
They used to have the calls on point. They be going. They really the ones that was selling it. They the ones that was, you know what I'm saying, putting it all
just
together.
Like the DJ.
Yeah, so they was they used to get to it. They you know it'd be mayhem. It's bedlam and all these words. And man, was it ever this past week?
You know, first I have to be the historian that I am, and put this in the historical context of racism. You know, oh man, it's just so much to unpack in the last few weeks of narrative post certification by the college electoral college. Yeah. I mean that seals the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to the Constitution of the United States of America, that seals the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wake up. Oh man, we lost. What the hell?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And I don't think we won because that's never been my issue, who wins.
No, right.
Because I wake up and go to work. I wake up and preach. I wake up and teach. I wake up and serve. I wake up and love. I wake up and give. I wake up sometimes to get mad at want to smack the hell out of something, but I wake up.
Yeah.
And keep on moving. But I've seen some things that are like disturbing.
I mean, for me, it's honestly just been confirmation of what I've already known.
Now see. Now see. Now see. You mean to say that the true picture and the true nature of America was on display?
I mean, 100%.
That's my shock face, y'all. I just can't believe it. Not Americans.
Yeah, I mean, that spirit, which you've been calling the spirit of the Confederacy, is alive and well.
The spirit of Confederacy. Boy, this is my shock face.
But it's a lot. It's a lot that it points out. And it's a lot that, you know, a lot of emotions are elicited as a response of some of the images, because so let's just go through it. So this is Tuesday, or is this when? This is Tuesday.
No, Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, the following day. So this is Wednesday. So we all wake up, we celebrate in Georgia. Next thing you know, you turn on the news, or I'm on social media at first, but because, you know, CNN and all these other places, they got the live feeds on the social media channels. And I look, and I'm looking, because at first they talking about, oh, it's a protest. And I'm like, okay, you know, these people been protesting, they've been gathering, Trump's been having rallies. And then I see people inside the Capitol, and I'm like, what? What's happening right now? And it continues to play out, and it continues to play out. And the first response that I saw on social media, which may not be what I felt, but I mean, yeah, I agree and I feel, was just like, wow, these people can literally do this and nothing happened to them. Knowing that if those people look like me and you, exactly what would have happened.
Well, it was clear to me. I'm moving to Georgia, and I'm becoming a black Republican. Maybe they won't shoot me.
So
I didn't see. I only saw two brothers. I think one was looking for a stimulus check. He just wound up in the wrong place.
It's just a slap in the face when you see the juxtaposition of the treatment. So when you in different buildings, but when you see all of those armed guards that was there for the Black Lives Matter protests, the military presence, and then you see people walking through taking selfies.
See, I wish I could get stuck on that narrative.
No, I'm just going through the progression of the day.
I understand. That's very. Those are good, well warranted observations. But there's a distinction, because I kept hearing. I don't want to call them right and left, because I'm not into that. But I kept hearing people say that because of the left's treatment of Black Lives Matter protests, then why are they upset now? And I kept hearing that, and I'm saying to myself, I understand. I mean, I don't want nobody out there burning down the courthouses and breaking in police stations and none of that stuff. But I kept saying to myself, but there's a giant difference here.
No, a huge difference.
And the difference is so overwhelming, because they're not attacking the state or local municipality or business. They're attacking the doggone United States of America.
It's federal. It's the nation.
I'm like, you got the vice president, the Speaker of the House, the president of the leadership of the Senate and the Congress, the whole House. You have everybody in there. If I'm a crazy terrorist or whatever, I'm like, hey, today is a good day to drop something. So since we live in that environment, Trump or no Trump, that's the environment we live in.
100%.
I got all of my leadership, with the exception of the outgoing president and the incoming president and vice president. Everybody else is in there.
Everybody else.
I think it should have been a little bit more fortified, whoever was coming to the doggone door.
No, but this is where some social media commentary comes in.
Well, I don't know nothing about
No. You may agree or disagree. But it's like they like, well, where's the people? And it's just like, well, where's Clark Kent when Superman's around? If you see where I'm going. And that was a lot. There was some validity to that. Some of the people was the same people.
This is my shock face, y'all. Because here's what we know.
Okay.
All right. Here's what we know. All right. Here's what we know. The Ku Klux Klan was distinguished because you could easily identify them.
Right.
Until they took off their robes.
100%.
And then they looked like mayors, governors, police officers, businessmen, Sunday school teachers, deacons, elders, regular Joes. They look like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So every time somebody shoots an Andre Hill, Breonna Taylor, and on and on and on, and people start talking to me about good police, I keep reminding people that when they put on that uniform, we don't know if it's a white robe hanging somewhere and a white hood hanging somewhere.
Yeah.
We don't know if there's these, the FBI, Homeland Security, said that the biggest threat to domestic terrorism was white wing militias.
That's just stating the obvious.
Yeah. All right. So, again, we know the deal. We know we have to talk about this podcast. We have to talk about these things. We're not unaware of these things. We're not blind to these things. We're just not that ignorant.
No, I'm saying that back to the initial statement. Just confirm what we already knew.
Oh,
it was just a physical. It was just another display, and it was a very bold one. It was like, oh, but I mean, after you would kidnap, was it a governor?
Yeah,
of Michigan, like.
Remember, the planning meetings were in Ohio.
I mean, so
but a well-known scholar, and I won't call his name, but well-known scholar, friend of mine, national scholar, he's a tremendous scholar. He said, "Charlie," and so y'all know.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Charlie, I'm gonna give me some popcorn. and I'm gonna watch TV tomorrow. And I'm like, I ain't wasting my time to get no popcorn. And I'm like, doggone it, where's the doggone popcorn?
No.
And then unfortunately,
we thought the show was gonna be inside. Yeah. Well, it was inside, but it started outside.
Now there's something to say about that too. But then unfortunately, when the former veteran was killed,
then
we found out that the police officer was killed. Then we found out that 3 people died just because of medical emergencies. And I know I'm gonna take a giant shift here.
All right.
But the pressure on us to gather is mounting and great.
Yeah, 100%.
And we choose not to because of the size of our congregation. Because since March, I don't want it to be on me that somebody came in our building, and as a result of my irresponsibility in my mind, because there are people who differ with me, somebody died.
Yeah,
and I'm saying to myself, how can you guys come back tonight and put on this Ringling Brothers? No, let me not insult Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey.
And I don't even know if they still around. Because all of those people was out. If you remember, we went to the Big Ten Championship. They was out there protesting because of the treatment of the animals. And I don't want to get off the point, but I do have something to say about that. Maybe we'll mention it later.
Yeah, we'll do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
But anyway, the unfortunate loss of life, other officers hurt, other people hurt. Who accepts responsibility for that?
Who accepts exactly? And that, not to generalize a group, but in this movement that this is a part of, that has kind of been one of the issues. Is like, you're responsible for igniting a fire, and then when it get put, like, we should celebrate you because you helped put it out.
If you help put it out.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, once some, like, I don't know.
Well, I know. Here's another thing I know. They got pictures of all them people.
Oh no, they posted them.
Right. No, they just posting a few. They got pictures of all of them.
Oh no, it's pictures of all of them. Okay. And the world we live in today, there is a employee right here in our own city of CMSD who is no longer there because they were identified.
Ooh. Well, here's what I know. Had they been African American, here's my shock face. Had they been African American, you only had to be near the building to be locked up.
Oh, your whole record would be on display.
They took down the brother in Louisville and locked him up as a domestic terrorist because during one of those rallies, his gun was pointed up in the air. And there was a police on the roof who potentially, he didn't discharge it, but there was a police on the roof. Had he discharged it, that police would have been shot.
Now, I'm glad we come back here because this was what I was going to get to with the initial of going through it, because there's something that's pointed out here in which becomes the main issue for people that look like us. And it's this, it's a really good show out right now. Now I'm going to encourage you to check it out. It's really good. It's called Your Honor. It comes on Showtime, starring Bryan Cranston. That's the dude that played Heisenberg on Breaking Bad. So he's a judge and it's a whole thing. But anyway, he has a son going through a lot of things. He's in high school, gets into a fight at the school. Just like all schools today, this school has a, what do they call it, zero tolerance policy. So the kid's in the principal's office. He doesn't call his dad. He calls his grandma, who's like a senator or something. And, she comes in there just like a straight up G. And the principal is talking and telling her all of this stuff, and he's going off giving his spiel of why this kid is expelled. And she pays that no mind. And as he's giving his little monologue, she just cuts him off with one word, like donuts. And we're like, what? Where's she going with this? She's like, donuts. And she basically, she brings us up to say that donuts have holes in them the same way rules do. Because he was explaining why we have these rules and these things. She says donuts, they have holes just like rules do. And that hole is called discretion. And that's what it always comes down to. We see discretion at play.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I can, and I won't tell them, remind me to tell you as we just walk and talk, because I have probably 25 billion of those stories of discretion.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that is one of the biggest problems as it relates. That's where the disparity and that's where the power can be abused, because I can get pulled over for XYZ, guilty or innocent, but the discretion of the officer is what determines what's going to happen. The discretion of law enforcement often is what determines somebody going home or somebody getting buried.
Absolutely. It's challenging. It's unfortunate, and it exists. It's real, and that's why when people deny that there's racism, I have no regard for them.
Yeah,
none at all. And it's just interesting. It was different, but it was expected from people who understand what people will go to, the things they'll do when they feel like their power, their privilege, their voice has been denied.
Yeah.
I just needed them to be black 5 seconds. Shoot, somebody lost the presidency? Okay. What we gonna do? We gonna do what we been doing. We going to work. We gonna try not to get killed if we pull over by the police. We gonna try to keep our jobs by doing our job, and whether the person denies the fact that we did our job or not, or somebody who didn't do their job, we have to pick up their slack.
But there's something else. Because when we talk about taking and kneeling for the flag,
Oh.
When we talk about kneeling for the national anthem, well, we're really talking about symbolism, how that's disrespect. What is this?
This is my shock face, y'all. That's all I can say. I am shocked.
And the excuse will be the reason. And what I was reminded of was one of the earlier episodes of Fresh Prince. Will comes in and he's just now going to this private school. They have these sacred desks, which the founders of the school all carved their name on, right? Then, obviously Will, being the kid he is, he carves his name in the desk. So now they have a hearing because he about to get kicked out of school for violating the symbols, right? And they gave this huge reason of why the founders did what it is that they did. And he was like, well, they were trying to make sure that their name lived on and blah, blah. He was like, well, that's why I did it. And it's just like, what are we really talking about?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, again, patriotism, all of those words that are used to describe certain pieces of the population are only there to unsubscribe us.
Yeah.
As if we're not patriotic, as if we're not civil or not.
Nah, sure. I'm just as American as anybody else. This is my country.
You know what happened when I went to South Africa?
What's that?
They said, there's an American here. This brother's from America. Everywhere I went, they introduced me from America. And I'm like, I'm one of y'all.
Yeah.
They never saw me as one of them. Matter of fact, and it wasn't a negative. What they were honoring was, because when I was there, we were there as a part of a delegation and talking about King and King's principles and things like that. But it was just funny. And I'm like, I'm African American. They never said African American. This brother's African American. He just kept saying American. I'm like, wow.
Yes, well, what is that? What is even that?
Yeah.
What is even that? But
yeah.
That's a whole nother thing.
A whole nother thing. It's part of the colored black
No, I get it.
Evolution.
I get it, but
my daddy didn't embrace it.
No, because I don't know.
If he was doing this show, he'd be blowing up social media.
Yeah.
He worked hard. If somebody got in his face, he handled his business. He loved my mom and his kids.
But back to it, we're literally taking a knee saying, "Don't kill us." Yeah. Don't kill us. We're just asking you not to kill us.
Yeah.
But so I mean, clearly another display of just the hypocrisy, and I feel as though it's two things, like you were saying, the feeling of the loss of power is real, but I also feel like there's a lot of kind of blind following.
Well, remember, and therein lies various logical arguments.
Yeah, I'm just saying, because it's all these funny videos out, and I'm not trying to make fun of anybody, but they just be asking, people of this certain, I don't know what you even call it, philosophy. I don't know what you would call it, but just very questions, and the answer is never there.
Right.
It's like, what's the reason behind what it is that you're doing?
Well, remember, when people choose to follow a person, then there's nothing rational that matters.
Yeah.
Because they're looking to that person.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately, when they begin to look to a person, at least in Christianity other than Jesus Christ, they're looking, no matter how great the person is, they're looking to a flawed human being.
Yeah.
And so when you have proportionate numbers of people following a person, then it can become cultic.
Yeah.
And then the person, if they're not mature enough to handle it, becomes an idol.
I mean, or wield it as they see fit.
Or, and that's what happened to Saul in 1 Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
you see it carried out 1 Samuel 15 when Saul has to let him know that he's been rejected as king.
Yeah. I've just recently been rereading all that.
Yeah. So the repudiation on this administration was so huge and so large, but the non-acceptance of the overall results created a whole nother cult and a whole nother set of responses that unfortunately led to the tragic death of the officer, the young lady,
Yeah.
the 3 persons, and all the people who got hurt. But then think about the policies that died in the midst of this.
Yeah.
Okay? The potential criminal justice reform bill, the new civil rights legislation,
Yeah.
the John Lewis bill, rather. Okay? Just so much policy died. And then the debate around stimulus and waiting until the not even the midnight hour, waiting until people were really in such bad shape that even whatever amount, if they'd have got the 2,000, anything is good, but it still wouldn't have rescued anything or anybody.
Oh, 100%. But not to cut you off.
Go ahead,
Back to Georgia. Hey, cut that check. we ain't forget. We ain't forget nothing you said. Georgia wins. We them 2,000. Cut that check.
Well, you already got Munchin out of West Virginia capitulating. He's whatever he is. But anyway, I'm not giving him no attention. But he already tried. Because they got to 50 votes, and then vice president then becomes president of the Senate, then breaks the tie. But you got some folk. You got some folk of conscience that understand that this thing has got to change. All right, every economist, left, right, conservative, liberal, understands right now that the only thing going to save this country economically is an infusion of cash so large in so many diverse places that getting the vaccine out is an issue. Cash, all right? Took cash to get it, to the president's credit and all the people who work with him. Took cash to get it, now it's going to take cash to get it out. Yeah. We can open up our schools. Cash. We can have our government work to allow our businesses to go forward. Cash. All right?
Now, about that, though, the schools, like what, you know what I'm saying, what needs to happen? Because, I was listening to a couple different programs of people talking about the vaccines or whatever, but, they're not even prepared. I don't even know if the trials for the children haven't even gone on.
No. I would not say, based on everything I'm hearing, children shouldn't take the vaccine.
No, I don't think they can right now.
Right, absolutely. So teachers need administrators and the people.
Yeah, I mean that may alleviate them, but I'm saying, but then what would mitigate the risk of the kids?
They're working on it.
Okay.
And again, and if we buy into just the political rhetoric or conspiracy rhetoric, or for African Americans, the historic treatment of black people in this country as it relates to health care, and so on and so forth, then, we're going to be very cautious.
Yeah.
Which is reasonable, recognizable, put on the brakes. But in order for us to get to a place of understanding, of acceptance, then there's going to have to be some participation.
Yeah.
This can't happen with us on the sidelines.
No.
And so that's part of what we do with SKIT, with Cleveland Clinic, trying to get a message out that says, okay, on this one, we got to participate because this helps us.
Yeah.
Dr. Tony Weiner at Metro. And so, it's, as you said, you and your friends talking about how all the historic things. Well, the pandemic was historic. The pandemic response has been both historic and unfortunately politicized to a degree that it has been just messed up.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in saviors other than Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But I do believe that the shift in philosophy that occurred in Georgia on the other night gives us a different picture going forward, at least for 2 years.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot of work to keep the House, a lot of work to keep the Senate, if we agree with that philosophy. Okay. And if we do, then we can't stop now. You know, the work has to continue and spread.
Yeah.
Look at those vulnerable places where you have vulnerable congressional people, vulnerable Senate people, and then work to make sure that they can stay in office or be replaced by people of like mind. And because I haven't embraced either philosophy, because mine is not more in the middle, it's more kingdom.
Yeah.
Our responsibility as theologians, as biblical scholars, I know y'all didn't think I was one of those, is to begin to say, here's what the Word of God says. You've heard this from them, and you've now seen this from them. Hear the real Word of God. Hear the kingdom word. They had a season when their word was power, but the culmination of their word was slave, be kind to your master.
Yeah.
And as long as you do that, you'll have favor.
Yeah.
But the moment you come against that, then you're labeled and demonized. And that's the way this country tries to keep everybody in check. Demonize, 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 label, label, label. So in the Georgia election, the Republicans only talked about labels.
Yeah.
Socialists, left, Marxism. So those two young men aren't.
Well, you know, I mean, up until this point, that type of a thing has worked.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm saying they've just they trying to do what they trying to stick with the formula.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that their message wasn't effective.
No, there's something else happening. Yeah,
it was just that for the first time in a long time. Well, see, I go back to the November election,
right?
And I said this on that podcast.
No, I remember.
Okay, all right, because that's really what this rhetoric and this movement is about. They knew, Hawley knew, what's his name, the other senator, Cruz knew. They knew. Those boys went to Harvard and Stanford Law School. They knew that they were not going to do anything at all, okay? But prepare to run for president. Oh, they'll probably vote for this second impeachment just so he can't run. But
no,
they know what they were doing, okay? All right, they understand. But the purpose of this rhetoric is what? Get rid of mail-in voting, limit and restrict voter registration and how voter identity. Again, the same arguments, the same battles we've been battling since the 1800s. It's the same battles we're battling today because they understand the country's not conservative, number one. This growing country, I don't know what it's going to be eventually. It's not left or right, but it's going to be something, okay? All right? And they know that without that, they'll lose. They fought to change those voter suppression laws in Georgia. We got them here in Ohio. They've been cleaning up their roles and dismissing us for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Okay? And they fought against that, took those restrictions off, and they didn't lose because of message. They lost because more folk.
No, yeah, more folk.
They lost based on simple numbers.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, no.
More. And when I saw Dr. Warnock's end results, matter of fact, I don't mean to talk about the senator, but whatever he did and whatever happened on Wednesday, she said, I ain't voting with y'all. She rich, so she going back and just be rich or whatever she wants to do. But it was just funny because that should have been all of them's position after Wednesday.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. It means nothing. You had 6 or 7 Ohio congressional people. Anybody who stood against the Electoral College should not be allowed to remain in office.
That's bold, but...
No. You cannot say I support the Constitution. See, it would have been different, but they took an oath of office on Sunday. They swore on Sunday to uphold the Constitution. Then on Wednesday, they voted to deny the Constitution.
Yeah.
That is a total breach of the oath they just had taken 72 hours before. They should be booted out.
Oh, I'm with you.
I mean, I don't, it's not my issue, but I'm just saying if you can't, how can I stand up and say the Constitution, then say, let's overturn the Electoral College? How can I stand up and say I love America and the values of America and then say, The electoral college doesn't matter. We want to insert a new process in the government where Congress now elects the president. We want you, Vice President Pence, to act on our behalf. And if you don't act on our behalf, you're a traitor. Lindsey Graham, matter of fact, your butt better not come to the airport. I mean, he had the marshals all around him, but I don't trust that. I need a tank and a bulletproof.
Yeah,
these folk got guns.
What?
I ain't talking about no little guns.
Oh no!
And they don't have one assault rifle or one whatever those things.
It's heavy artillery.
Oh shoot, man! Come on, yeah. It's amazing how ignorance can dominate a world.
Yeah.
And that's why discussion is so important, because I say things on this podcast and I send an email to one of those organizations.
Yeah.
I send them an email and I say, listen, holler back at your boy. I want to discuss this. I don't want to just talk about y'all. I'll talk with you if you want to. But I ain't going to. Now, if you want to fight and put the guns down, because I can't shoot no, I'm a felon, so I can't have no gun. I can't shoot nobody. But you want to fight? Come on. I set the ring up. Now, let me see. We used to get 8-ounce gloves. What do we need now? About 32 ounce. No, that still might hurt. We need some 40-ounce gloves and bring your butt on.
No, I was trying to institute that before this past exhibition matches. We got an issue. Let's put the gloves on. Let's raise some money for charity.
I grew up on the street.
And
he only had the ring because he could beat all us. But anyway, the kid on the street turned out to be a great boxer. I won't call his name. But they had a ring in the backyard, okay? And you could come and just settle your disputes, all right? Of course, he called my poor cousin Herbie. Hey, Herbie, he's dead now. But they called him in the ring, and Herbie wasn't no fighter and beat him to death. But, let's do battle. Let's battle our ideas in a forum that at the end we have some resolution. Because right now the philosophical divide in this country is preparing us. And your mother always reminds me, I teach that America is not shown up at the end times.
Yeah.
There's no United States of American eschatology.
my only thing is just like, you can see, like, if someone has an opposing view, but you can see where the line of, and you're like, oh, okay, I can see how you come up with that, but I disagree.
Right.
But I just completely, I just don't. There are certain things that it's just completely illogical.
They were in conflict with their own values. They were asking the federal government to do what the Constitution has said the state should do.
Mm.
We know, and I'm going to go on record. This is my shock face. We know there was no voter fraud. All right, they know it too. How do they know it? Because there's no way that down ballot all Republicans won. Only one person lost. Now, they took that as a non sequitur to say that if all of us win, then therefore he should have won. No. There were people who didn't like him that like y'all.
There it is.
Or people who didn't like his policies that wanted to maintain their conservative or Republican view of things.
Yeah.
I've seen that in this state all along.
Yeah.
People vote race over party in Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, black Democrat run, they lose. Statewide. Okay? All right? So that's party. So what? What happened? All right? Everybody else won in that Democratic time in Ohio when the Democrats won. Okay? All the other officers, but the only office that didn't win was, what was the only variable there? Race. So what happened? Those people who voted for Democrats in that race either didn't vote or voted Republican.
Mm.
And I've seen it time and time again. I won't call any names because some of the people aren't alive anymore, and I want to respect their privacy, but I can show you.
Mm. Yeah, no.
So in this case,
makes sense.
They voted Trump out.
They voted Trump out.
It was interesting that they would do that, especially those. I mean, you got to look. I mean, black people in the South should have been beholden to him. I mean, he did more for black people than any president since, and maybe We're not really sure. Maybe he did more than Lincoln.
Yeah.
So I don't understand those black people in the South. How they could actually turn their back on the greatest president. I mean, black wealth increased, black jobs increased, black unemployment decreased.
No comment.
I don't understand it. Here's my shock face, y'all. I'm shocked to those black people in the South. I'm just shocked.
Well, on another note, oh, there was one more thing I was gonna say about all that, but I guess I could leave it.
Yeah, go ahead and say it.
No, not. And this gets back to the whole police thing. We see that no charges was filed in the Jacob Lawrence case. Another slap in the face. But it gets
Brother would have been better off if he hadn't told him he had the knife. Because the moment he told him he had it, they killed him.
No, they gave him the license. That was, or, well, we know how they do. So, I feel
that was
but
the release.
Once they whenever they make up their mind, they'll find a way to justify it.
Oh, without a doubt. Same thing with the last two young men shot in Columbus.
It's just like, when you see that kind of a thing happen, and it's like, I can't even walk into the grocery store with a hood and mask in 30-degree weather in a pandemic without being like, and I'm like, really?
Well, the police always speak to me now with my hood and mask on.
No, I walk into the grocery. I ain't gonna say what store. I walk into the grocery store, and I don't know if this guy's a cop, if he's security, what he is, but he all over me. I'm like, well, first and foremost, my dude, like I don't think he's armed. So if I was up to no good, it wouldn't be nothing you could do. Like, but I'm not that that's the energy I'm giving off. But it's just like, wow, I'm in the city that I live in, that I pay taxes in. I'm coming in here to get groceries and to go home, and I have to deal. And it may not. It's just, I don't know. That kind of
yeah, but if I was stick up dude right now, would be a good time.
Oh no! When this whole thing started, that was my personal concern. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna feel when everybody got these masks on, everybody got these gloves on. I don't know who is who and what's what. But everybody, for the most part, there has been violence, but as far as like those kinds of things, it don't seem as though there's been a upward trend.
Well, I mean the again, and never mind. But
yeah,
it's all these things interesting, but
we got some good news.
The Browns won. They beat Pittsburgh last week. Of course,
we got them again.
Hey, Ray, Ed, Jim. Those are my elders.
They said it's no longer the factory of tears. They lifted the factory of tears down on the lake.
Juju gonna talk that crap. Oh, they the same old Browns. Yeah,
right. He better go on. What Cincinnati do? Knock this butt out.
I'm telling you. Well, anyway, but that's the Browns. The Browns.
I mean, let's say this, and not to put an asterisk by the game or the season, but to have such an amazing season is just so unfortunate that it was in COVID.
Oh man, because we'd have been down there.
Because you look back at was the week we played the Jets. All season you see games getting postponed. We lose our whole starting receiving core, the whole core, not one, not everyone, nothing. Now we got what? I don't know how many people on the coaching staff. I don't know how many players out, and we making excuses. Like, come on, man.
Nah, go in there and kick their butt.
I mean, I feel you, but it's just like, man, we finally back in the playoffs. We finally rolling, but we handicapped.
Yeah, but here's how I looked at it. I was like 11-5. Baker made some growth. We know the talent we have. We need a couple pieces. Denzel been hurt. I mean, we can talk about all the injuries. And this week going back into Pittsburgh with all the COVID issues and the injuries, and I still think they're going to win. But I'm not mad. It would have been a time I'd have been really upset with the Jets game. Even without the receiving core, okay? But I've seen us build what I've always said, and the Haslams have gotten it right finally. You don't build a team on the field. You build a team by building an entire team. Yeah. And I think Andrew Berry and that group and all of those, all of those people.
Mm-hmm.
Then to bring in the right coach, even though he had never coached before, and him to choose the staff he's chosen. We had players, and we're getting players, and we have players. And so now, boom, Bill. My prayer is that Baker will continue to grow, and he's our quarterback. But if not, at some point, get it done. You know, if he is, hallelujah.
Oh, shoot. We're going to have to put this out today. We got to put this out today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise, by the time they see it, the game will already be over. No, we can put it out today, and we continue to send out the link. They can see it. They may see it after the game, but we had opportunity to see it before the game.
Right. And then Monday night, man. I'm like, I was watching them play. See, we had Clemson beat last year, and I can't talk about it because Justin Fields was hurt. And because I watch games the way I do, because I can go back to that play when y'all was playing Pitt. Okay.
Oh man, it was.
No, I know the play.
Simple.
See, I know the play. Okay, and that stuff stays in my mind. I don't know why. I'm not supposed to be releasing stuff, but anyhow, I know the play because his leg was hurt. Okay, but so I knew I had, and your mama was like, you know, because she's a Bucks fan, but she likes Clemson. I don't know why, but anyhow, she's a big Bucks fan. Don't get it wrong. We got a Bucks house, but I told her I said, this year I have no worry about Clemson. Now I am challenged because with 6 games, I wasn't totally sure about the defense.
No, man, they
And when I watched that game, you know what I said? I said what I said about 15. We them boys. It's back.
No, they got all the tools. They got all the tools.
Listen, here's what Nick Saban was praying. He was praying about this game like I pray about Michigan. Okay? Urban Meyers was praying that Clemson would win because he didn't want to play. Nick Saban was praying that Clemson would win because he know as great as his team is, and he got one this year.
Oh, man.
He know as great as stuff is, the one team that can kick his behind is Ohio State.
Yeah, so they got to see us. And now they got the
we match up like other teams don't match up.
No, that's what it comes down to.
Speed on speed, and I'm not talking about receivers and backs now, because when you play for Alabama and you a lineman, you got to run as fast as the backs.
They have some tremendous athletes.
Yeah, so
we do too.
Yeah,
when we can move that ball down the field, that be the part for me. When I consider about Ohio State offense. If we have the home run ability, like, cause I mean we always have great running backs,
yeah.
You know, the defense tends, you know, to be good, but when we can make them home runs on the outside, then we can compete with anybody.
Justin Fields, unfortunately, only played 6 games. Showed him why he's the Heisman Trophy winner, the #1 pick.
Oh man. He looked great, and
I know Trevor Lawrence is going to be it, and I'm not mad about that because he's a tremendous kid.
But what he
I'm just going on what happened to him last year, even though he won the game in the end. If we don't throw the interception, but this year we dismantled him, and Justin Fields was spectacular.
No, and not only was he spectacular, but he showed an intangible, and that's hard.
Right.
To get hit like that. To take, because when he took that hit, my heart stopped. I'm like, oh no, we got here, we got the team, and now we lose them again.
Right.
But he stayed up there, he stayed back, he continued to. Now he was a little less risky on the feet, which was good. We need you to stay okay. But he stayed there, he stayed delivering those throws and through the pain, whatever. I'm like, oh man, this kid got it.
Yeah, it was fun. And Urban picked him to win.
Well, you know. Yeah. So I mean,
but my other prayer, you know, I'm always cautious Christians on my sports prayers. Okay, but my other prayer was answered too.
What's that?
Michigan extended the contract for Harbaugh.
I don't care what they do. It don't matter if they get rid of it.
It doesn't matter.
They ain't got nothing coming.
It does matter. It matters a lot because we do know as long as he's there. We had to deal with Michigan State and Indiana. Yeah, maybe Penn State, maybe Wisconsin. But they're not even on the radar screen. Yeah, no. And for them to be this far out of it for this long, And I don't hate Michigan because, you know, I've had children go there and graduate from our church and some friends who went there and graduated. And so I don't hate him. My former business partner, he went there, he tried to get you. But, you know, it's just something about being a Buckeye and watching them extend the contract based on we don't know what, because it can be based on football. You know, because football, you have to win games and produce championships and compete for a national championship.
I'm trying to think. I don't even remember hold on, keep going.
So, I mean, and, you know, a good friend of mine, Joe. Hey, Joe, a good friend of mine. He graduated from Michigan, so, you know, but him and Tress had such a good relationship. He doesn't hate Ohio State. But, you know, we were talking yesterday, and he was saying, I was saying, hey, Joe, we don't agree on this one. This is the answer to my prayer. Okay, my sports prayers. They got a little section over there in the Lord's place where I can pray my sports prayers. But yeah, Harbaugh got an extension. I was like, man, that's great. I can't believe it. That's just thank you, Lord, for letting him get that extension. I don't know which booster's on his side, but I hope he live another 35 years.
Yeah, because as it looks right now, they got nothing covered.
33. I'll be 133 years old.
Yeah, there you go. But you know, I can't wait to see that one.
And I'm in mourning. This is my mourning face.
No, man.
Francisco.
It's like
I knew it.
In this week, though, this is a great week for Cleveland sports. It's a great week for Ohio sports.
Hey, the Cavs won the game too.
No, yeah, and then. I had a feeling like this, you know, within the past every year. I'm like, man, don't do it. Yeah. And then I got the news. Somebody posted on Facebook. Then I went to my ESPN app and I looked and I was like, oh man,
it was coming.
It was coming.
Yeah, it was coming. It was coming. It was coming. So it's Cleveland, but we're gonna have a new name at the end of 2021.
That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing. Just don't wind up like Washington.
Yeah, pick a name.
Yeah, right. Pick something. That poor Dwayne Haskins didn't get cut with up there.
Oh, man.
Coach didn't want him. Management in disarray, and then he just got caught up, and before you know it, now he's cut. You know, pray somebody picks him up because the young man has a lot of talent. He's got to grow a little, but he's got a lot of talent. I listen to these black sportscasters now, and I'm like, man. I know they're getting paid, so they're not on a show like ours where they can say what's true. You know, they're getting Tony Dungy going to throw Warnock on. I've respected that man for years. Going to throw
What'd he say?
Going to throw Warnock under the bus. How can a person be a pastor and be pro-choice? I'm like, where's your doggone theological degree? Pro-choice and pro-life are not biblical statements and biblical values. Those are political statements, highly politicized by both groups for political purposes. There's no Christ in that.
Oh, wow, man. That was my dude, too.
He's
still my dude.
Yeah,
but,
right.
you know.
But I'm just saying them Booger going to just hate on.
Oh, man, he always.
Yeah, man. Come on. I'm like, man, come on, man. Come on. Then he picked Ohio State, so I was like, okay, maybe I got to forgive him. But, you know, and I'm like, come on, man. These young men are young. He went into a horrible situation, okay, because there was just no love for him. Look what Stefanski has done in a year with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Okay. Early in the year, even some of my majority sportscasters was kind of checking out on him.
No, shoot, it was not early. Just last week, I heard people on there talking about, oh, you know, he lose this game this week versus Pittsburgh, he's out of there.
But look at the progress he's made with a good coach, good offensive coordinator, and people committed to his growth. You know, and I'm not defending everything that Dwayne did because he's a former Buckeye, because I would do the same thing for all of them. But it's just, you know, I just wish that, you know, we had, like we used to have BET, but now it's not owned by black people no more.
Nope.
We used to have BET. So I wish we had BE Sports.
Yeah, that's what we need.
So
we need to talk to, we need to call Puff. Because they got Revolt. They just need Revolt Sports.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
I'm just
so it would be an alternative voice out there. So when our strong African-American sports people, like a Tony Dungy and a Booger, when they get out there on that island, we can say to them, here's an island y'all can come be on so you can tell the truth.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
I know they got to get paid and take care of their families now, so I wouldn't dare try to disenfranchise someone from their job. And I have freedom. I've had a pulpit for 30-some years, and when I want to talk, I can say what I want to say.
Right.
Or truth. What I'm saying is truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to say the rest of the stuff. Don't just say the stuff that everybody's saying. Say the rest. Say he went to a place where the coach didn't want him. He got fired. Management was in disarray. They lost their name.
Yeah. I mean, he made a bonehead decision, but that doesn't mean that you well, that's what they do.
Yeah, that's what they do to certain people.
No, to certain people.
To certain people.
No, that's very clear.
Yeah, very clear. Very clear. Very clear. But just think, they put the African American Football Hall of Fame into the Hall of Fame. And they just acknowledged the Baseball Negro League.
Yeah.
100 years too late, but hallelujah.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Yeah. Well, I guess gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
The engineer's getting a little bit challenged.
All right. What else? No, that's about it.
Well, I mean, I got a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, King Day is coming. Hey, your birthday is coming.
Yeah.
So by the time
I'm feeling good.
On the next podcast, it'll be your birthday.
Not quite. We have one more before. And then we'll have one more after. So we'll have one more. It'll be the birthday episode.
Okay.
But no, I'm feeling good. Start out the year eating clean, basically.
I started out the year, I was going to eat clean.
No, I just figured, like, my birthday in the top of the year, so I could lead up with, just putting some good stuff into me.
Well, my birthday, I went into a clean mode and did it until Thanksgiving and lost 30. And then I said, well, Thanksgiving to Christmas to the first of the year, I would, enjoy myself a little. And now I've extended it a week and praying like heck I can get off of this extended it train.
I mean, I figure, I go into the birthday clean. Boom, celebrate the birthday for a little bit. Then we come right back. If I participate in the fast, that'll be coming up next month.
Don't tell me that, because then I'll be like, well, we can hang out eating like this till the fast. No.
No, I mean, you get all the free birthday treats and whatever in your email when you subscribe. So I'm subscribed to a bunch of them. So I want to get all the free stuff I can get. Yeah. And then maybe I want a tomahawk steak or something like that. So we'll see.
I'm telling you.
But no, I'm excited about the birthday. I'm obviously not really gonna do much, but just another year of life, another blessing. So yeah. This
is my shock face, y'all. I just can't believe it. I can't believe that people of character, integrity, good conscience, love America would do the things they did to our capital. That is just egregious. It is unthinkable. How can that be possible in the greatest country on the planet with some of its best citizens in Washington acting like that? I could hear my grandmother saying, "Don't you act like them."
That's a perfect place.
Don't you act like them. Don't you act like them.
See y'all next time.
Okay, see y'all next time. Happy New Year. Be blessed.